How's it going? This is our dispatchers from the fort. At the fort. This is the introduction. Living in the smallest state has its advantages. In a little under an hour, you can travel from seacoast to woodland, field to forest. A drive can take place on a city street or a rural road. A hike may be footsteps on a recently blazed trail or path that has existed for centuries. Journeys on water may be by river, open ocean, or paddling around a lake or pond. There are small towns and busy highways, and a city not far away. A great diversity of humanity and species can be found in the places encountered and culture experienced in an area of only 1,200 square miles. There is also great diversity in the levels of introspection and reflection one can have when wandering around this ocean state. That being said, sometimes it's nice to be close to the ones you love and appreciate. Staying put has its advantages. In years past, I have found inspiration in a variety of settings. Journals kept while traveling served as a source for past volumes of poetry. My basement office, with wall-to-wall bookshelves, provided a great setting for writing early on. I wrote a few books while sitting at different coffee shops, week after week. Another in the basement bar of a friend's house, while his band rehearsed each Thursday. And one collaborated on across the internet with a good friend, writing from wherever I had a seat. This past year saw me writing exclusively from the walls of Fort Foreclosure, in my hometown of Warren, Rhode Island. It's the home of the studio of William Schaff, an extraordinary artist and good friend. Spending time there, or here, with bourbon on hand, instrumental music playing, had me thinking about age and time, perspective and understanding, inspiration and originality. It is truly a place to behold, and so my mind wandered, as it usually does. The time we live in is one of life and love and loss. We are surrounded by energy, creativity, and passion. I ask you to consider that at this very moment, a band is playing, a play performed, a film screened. Well, not really because of COVID, but it was at the time. There's a painting in a gallery, a book in the hands or a shelf, a dance routine executed, photos are captured, words and music composed, oils, pencils, and watered down pigments become something more. Ingredients are blended, love letters drafted, games and matches being played, and stories relayed. Something is born. At this moment, a house is erected and one is torn down. An employee hired or laid off. A convict imprisoned or escaped. There's a car in the shop, an idea in mind or print, a math problem pondered or solved. There is illness and healing. Bills are paid or not. Lotteries and races won or lost. Effort, motivation, and problem solving become something more. Directions and wishes are followed, wills written and amended, obituaries relayed. Something has died. Everywhere, inspiration, imagination, and creation abound. Perspectives change. Understandings emerge. Not unlike the natural course of things, the cyclical nature of creative productivity goes on and on and on. Each instant marks the next. Each is a part of the other. The importance lies in the ability to discover what's new, support what has been, and look to the past for what was. It is vital to take part in culture, to explore our environment, and learn from individuals who are appreciative of it. That is the journey. There is nothing more worthwhile than taking a moment to let someone else's work inspire one's own creative thought. Exist in the environment and take comfort in the place you currently inhabit. Times move forward. The passage of it brings about age. We are born, grow up, and die. People met and places traveled to, no matter how close or far, fill the intervals in between, and influence life on all levels. And so this new volume of poetry was born. These are the dispatches from the fort. In between. Some hang on desperately to the memories of a long forgotten time. Friendships were friendships, and laughs, laughs. Love was love, and fears and hopes just that. I can't recall thinking I'd be thinking. Don't remember remembering at all. Youthful eyes on a world that seems so large, and to walk miles without ache. Inspiration came from a place, a face, an idea. Motivation in the form of creating, performing. All pieces, really, of a larger life, more than twice an age away. Some let go deliberately to the memories of a long forgotten time. Promises are promises, and trust, trust. Faith is faith, and truth, and light. I'm not worried, not found worrying. Don't remember remembering at all. Ageless eyes on a world that seems so small. To sit at the fort with nowhere to be. Inspiration comes from a face, a place, an idea. Motivation in the form of everything and nothing. All shadows, really, of a mortal life, just half an age away. Daylight upon us. In this tired time, where men argue and disagree, and women too, can we just hold hands and look till tomorrow? For the daylight is upon us, and thoughts, they scatter easily in this tired time. On this dire day, when the foundations and structure decay, and honesty too, can we just stay locked in a long embrace and see past yesterday? For the daylight is upon us, and night, it comes quickly on this dire day. Around this same old town that nurtures the soul and mind and spirit too, can we just be as one just for the evening? For daylight is upon us, and feelings, they erupt ceaselessly around this same old town. In this place, daylight is upon us. In this place, daylight is upon us. This one's called Span of a Week. In the span of a week, it all seems lost. Bars closed, friends stay away, bare shelves, virtual selves, plans for a complete transition. Stores shut down, people cannot stay. Prepare yourselves for a change to come. In the span of a week, shadows and reflections of what was, what is. Tables turned to brown bags, handed through windows. Purchases moved to an online cart. There's no hope for a show or performance, no baseball season. To teach across the internet, to reach across the aisle, to each across the miles, find hope among the bleak. Old folks are frightened, and the young ones are scared. The ones in the middle, the ones made aware. A sickness for the predisposed, an illness for those unprepared, a madness for those anxious of the future, a stillness for those aware, all in the span of a week. This one's called COVID-19. There's a question undefined, a virus on the loose, an answer unrefined, a population to reduce. It's the laws of nature, natural selection in effect, advantage and disadvantage, human population the subject. Hopes and fears, soap and prayers, numbers and updates, chambers and checkmates. It's the way it goes, a chance to disconnect, infected and immune, fate and karma the suspect. There's a suggestion ignored, a cure on the way, An event canceled abruptly. Life goes on in its way. Life as a stone. The beginning is the end is the beginning. For when everything collides, is turned upside in, the heat and the pressure, a thunderous din, causes rock to melt and fold, change form, recrystallize, squeezing out water as water becomes water. Time, vast amount of time, and air and deposits, and more time, and ice sometimes, uncovers what is, exposes the weakness, erosion begins, tossing debris and waste against each other, till at last there is no more. It has become stone, ready for collision and heat and pressure. The beginning is the end is the beginning. A timeless time. Searching for a timeless time, a motionless frame, a forgotten rhyme, seeking an endless end, an unspoken name, a long-lost friend, gasping a breathless breath, grasping an extended hand, gathering all that is left when all is gone. Disbelieving belief, finding some relief in conversation and song. To ignore the foundation, to throw it to the wind, backstep through footsteps, exit through the entrance. Reaching for a heartless heart, a stagnant pool, a suspended start. Teaching to mindless minds, distracted conscious, searching for a timeless time. This one's called Origins. The immensity of it all. No distance, no time. Each step a point of reference, an origin. A relative placement, distracted, refracted, moving at the speed of light. A beam. Forward or back, magnified, microscopic. The smallest is the largest, an atom. The insignificance of it all. No meaning, no place. Environment and emotions dictate action. A label. A magical transformation, adapted, evolved, changing and surviving over time. A mutation. Asteroid or long-term chemical exposure. No announcement, premonition. In an instant or over years. A mass extinction. The creation of it all. No plan, no direction. Each instance, remembrance, a story. This one's called Everything. There's too much everything. Most of it nothing. It's the intangibles, feelings and emotions, to love and to see. That is everything, and is nothing, when compared to the things that are created. A smile seen before, or a squint reminiscent of the past. Embrace and the feel of an older hand, rough and large, nails hard, but soft and comforting at the same time. Everything. A bite of food to chew, a dance across the floor, a look from the far end of the room upon entering, and laughter, glorious bellows. That is everything. To be moved by song or speech, or words and deeds, to be honored with praise and thanks and appreciation, to honor and praise and thank and appreciate, to love and to see, everything. That is everything. Bourbons of Bywater. There have been many bourbons at Bywater, a straight one and one on the rocks, enriching a hot toddy or two, or an old-fashioned, fashioned as they do. There have been many bourbons at Bywater, small batch or bottom shelf, a sip of the best, a gulp of the rest, left with rosy cheeks and a heavy chest. There have been many bourbons at Bywater, on a Monday or Tuesday or Friday, and on Saturday, Wednesday, and Thursday, not to mention a restful Sunday. There have been many bourbons at Bywater, served by Morgan, Nate, Janet, or Pete. There have been many bourbons at Bywater. In the end, I'll just have mine neat.
To write. To write because you have to. It's the only way to be. See the world, take it in, and compose something, anything. If only to release the reader's thoughts, connect with a common cause and understanding. To write because you need to. It's the only way to live. Experience the times and take part in it and produce something, anything. If only to respect the reader's opinions, bridge the divide and disagreement. To write because that's what you do. It's the only way you know. Participate with all, be in the moment, and create something, anything. If only to appreciate the reader's time, solidify the relationship, and exchange.
Dreams of the East. There are times I am there, in the eastern mist, walking for miles along the river valley. Stone steps, suspension bridges, slate channels, scents of rhododendrons, extinguished fires, warm lemon water and tea, potato and rice, native tongues, high-pitched song, namaste greetings, endless foot traffic. Peaks far off covered in snow, long expanses of space filled with low-hanging clouds just above the tops of the trees. Roaring water and trickling streams, birds, dogs, oxen, and water buffalo. Basket and mat weavers, grain separation by the hand and the wind. From Beni to Baglung, up the Magdi Kola, Darbung to Muri, on the way to Dalagary. Silent eaves draped in a star-filled sky. Boiling water left in 2 bottles by the tent. Light goes out, head on the ground. I awaken in 2019, at home. Times what make us. It's the times what make us. Choose and be chosen, react and reaction, cause and commotion. The times what make us. It's the places that keep us, in and out and far between, back and forth and sideways, up and down and straight ahead, the places that keep us. It's the dreams which drive us, problems that we see, creations we must create, philosophy, psychology, religion, the dreams which drive us. It's the reality that shapes us, colors and sights, sounds and songs, taste and touch and feelings, reality that shapes us. It's the times what make us. Come what may be, whatever will be, it's the times what makes us. Never dark. It's never really dark, so long as there are stars in the sky. Light is there, just above. And as time passes, it becomes brighter and brighter, so that the darkness turns visible, and paths can be trodden, and streets can be navigated, and thoughts can flow, focused. For sight is no longer a problem. That's all that I know. A mountain between us, a desert below, oceans above us. That's all that I know. Stagnant earth whispers in darkness. Fresh fields of flowering plants remain to the east of the last encounter. Blatant tongues quake amid brightening skies. Lush landscapes of lingering leaves refrain to the west of the first encounter. A canyon between us, rivers below, nothing above us. That's all that I know. This was called Alone in the Abyss. Like the patience of a stranded man, without measure of time or place, how one arrived or how ever to leave. Vacant skies, airless air, vapor trails off and simply disappears. Soundless, noiseless, voiceless. Forever, if that's what it is. Alone in the abyss, lost to the world, without explanation or pause. Alone in the abyss, gone somewhere out there, without provision or cause. Like the desperation of a maroon man, stripped of intimacy and dialogue, no one going or coming. Timeless sea, sandless shore, a gust trails off, and on and off, nameless, countless, fearless. Alone in the abyss, descended somewhere down there, without want or need, without faith, without anything, alone in the abyss. This is called Times Like These. It's times like these we cherish, much more than those that came before. The rhymes we long to savor, such friends as these, a store of memories and past and laughter. It's moments like these we relish, with drink and smoke and song. The embers burn for you tonight, a prayer for those who have up and gone. It's spaces like this we need, as the seconds pass to days, forest fires, droughts, disease, and quakes. Cheers to those lost and on their way. 10 o'clock on a Water Street eve, a fire burning bright, to wake on a beautiful morning. For now, we say goodnight. This one's called An Immediate Blush. To seek and be sought, to give and receive, to buy and be bought, deny and believe, to stay and to leave, to want and to have, to disappear and remain, protect and deceive. A glance or a look, a chance of indefinite fate, an immediate blush, to be early or just too late. This is called America 2019. I've never seen democracy so eroded, a republic on the brink. I'm not sure what to make of it. Not really sure what to think. Differences used to divide, misunderstandings used to confuse. Another man's truth made false at the start, one more argument to use. In truth, hate felt gone, racism a thing of the past, and lies unaccepted, for it was never meant to last. Some found their voice, a movement to get behind. A minority, it seems, but nonetheless unkind. Others supported and aided and cared, mending the wounds with spirit and grace. This one's called These Hands. These hands are my father's hands, and his father's too. They are the hands of my brothers and those of my neighbors. They tilled the soil, grappled stone, forged steel and iron, clenched the hand of others, shaken and waved, used for indication, placed on a shoulder or across a heart, chapped and scarred, clapped, soft and smooth, coarse and hard, washed clean at the end of the day, exposed to the elements, covered by wool, placed in a pocket, breathed on for a bit. These hands are my father's hands, and like my grandfather's, and his father's too. They are the hands of my brethren, and those of humanity. This is called It's Ours. Our neighborhoods, our past, friendships meant to last. Our memories, our dreams, hardships delve into the past. This one's called Poe. I think Poe was just sitting as he visited Baltimore. Passing by a bench, he needed a rest. Thoughts heavy on his heart, air vacant from his chest. What had he thought then, as his eyes closed? To be found as he was, in another man's clothes? Disoriented, perhaps, or scared or cold. What had he said then, as his speech became slurred? Confused as he was, not uttering a word. Reminiscing, perhaps, or remembering time. A wife, a child, a story to tell. A life, the wild, a flower to smell. A rose, a bottle, some pills, and a smile. He lasted, he lived, if only for a while. There on a bench in the October sun, shade and darkness, a life already won. This one's called 17. Haven't been writing in a while. Been thinking and recognizing and listening. Letting go come easy and smooth, instead of making hard to do. They've grown, she's grown, and ready to be alone, at least as it should be. Never imagined it felt like this. Never knew, and no one told. It's not what was expected, but it's welcome. It has to be. For promised and decided long ago that freedom and independence are the most important things. No religion, no criticism or judgment, really the only times for it. Let it go. Not hard at all. Let it go. Let it be. This one's called Harder to Tell. It's getting harder to tell the difference between dream and reality. The day and the night are a blur, melted into one instance, a distance between them no more. A thought, an action, reaction back and forth, the up and the down, left and the right, north and the south, grounded and in flight. It's getting harder to tell the difference. Living. When I was born, Plainfield Pike, 76 to 78. Early childhood, Morton Ave, 78, 82. Then to Forest Hill Drive, 82 to 83. Unexpected turn down Fairmount Ave, 83 to 85. Found myself on Hope Street, 85 to 94. Lost myself on Lower College Road, 94 to 95. Spent 6 months at the Airport Marina Hotel, over on Lincoln Boulevard, 95. Back to Winter Paradise up Cold Hill Road, 95 to 96. Lived like a rock star while at Darling Hill Road, 96 to 97. Spent lots of time contemplating residing at Cotton Road, 97 to 98. Took a turn down Baker Street, 98 to 02. Settled for these past many years, Arthur Ave, 02 to 20. It's called Pocket Ace. These desert sands, they know no bounds. This tired hand who seeks what's found. A lover's kiss, stunted bliss, synchronous miss, too real to dismiss. These fragile thoughts, they fear no code. This tired foot who's worn its soul. A friend's embrace, child's face, one true grace, memories displaced. These shaken finds, they take no time. This tired mind to find a rhyme. A life's true place, forgotten trace, pocket ace, too good to replace. This one's called Writer's Block. Sometimes I feel as if all the good lines have been taken, all the words and phrases used, the rhymes spent, the cadence shattered, verses gone to others, written or already heard or read. Sometimes I feel like all the inspiration has been halted, all the metaphors and connections crossed, the inference scattered, movements lost to others, used or already said or spoken. Sometimes I feel like all the patience has been taken, all the nerve and calm used, the anger spent, the peace in pieces, forgiveness gone to others, through reflection or sadness or contemplation. Sometimes it feels like the words have been told. Sometimes it feels like this is all getting old. Sometimes it feels like I've drawn up the curtain. Sometimes I feel like there are no more mountains. Sometimes. And then, just like that, it all returns as a tide with fresh beginnings. This one's called 6 Seconds Ago. At some point, 6 seconds was lost, and then 6 more, till at last it was days ago, and 2 weeks became 4. Existing in 2 times has its faults, despite what you'd believe. The future still always out of reach. There's no resolution. Changes made aren't perceived. It's a stronger hope, at least, to trust in the new scene, so that when one's years behind again and starts to lose a few seconds in time, the thought of all this, reactions and decisions, déjà vu in rhyme, familiar faces and places and spaces, sounds and feelings and beliefs, choices to choose, 6 seconds ago, 12 seconds ago, 24 seconds ago, 48 seconds ago, over a minute ago, forever. This is called Leo. I can't imagine you there as the torpedoes moved about and the planes on high roared with all heaven on their wings. The water and the land teeming with life and death and love and pain and you, right in the middle of it all. I can't imagine you there. The stories you could have told, perhaps when you'd grown old, but you never got that old. You just died. Did you imagine it there? Worry about the end, or the ones left behind, your family and friends, a country's best defense, and years and time and age and you, so far away from it all. I can't imagine you there. I can't imagine you there. This one's called Time for Time's Sake. The fear of everything, the worry of nothing, promises of things to come. In the thickening haze, it becomes clearer and clearer, clear. No more time for time's sake. No more wasting or waiting. No more maybe. Maybe. To fear nothing, not even the end. For want of everything and anything to come, there's a low-hanging fog that rises and rises, rise. Time for time's sake. Time for time's sake. Time. This one's called Circumstances. Pleasantries and fantasies, to each his own, they say. A pleasure to take part in, a treasure found along the way. Delicacies and fancies, an acquired taste, they say. A measure of a life well lived, a pressure ceased without delay. Entranced and enhanced, to see is to believe, I've heard. A difference marked through time, a reference soon transferred. Circumstance and romance, only one life to live, I've heard. An appearance moved to rhyme, a deterrence jumbled and stirred. Occupancies and divergence, a trance, a dance of love. Vacancies and convergence, to be below and then above. A day in Nepal for an 8-year-old, an afternoon in Nepal for an 80-year-old. The children, a dozen or so, a Nepalese morning. 12-mile run to the airport with rims and sticks, be back by dark. Laughter and song, dust and dirt, no cars or buses or bikes, just your feet to take you. 12-mile run to the airport to see the airplane speed along, till at last it rises and leaves the earth for the sky. Many years later, the elders, a dozen or so, a Nepalese afternoon. Nowhere to go, just sit and relax, or take a walk. Thunder and crash, a rolling pavement, no more temples, no buildings, no roads, just broken brick and stones and debris. Nowhere to go, as the history crumbled all around, trampled by the earth. What was once built, had stayed, is now destroyed, and is gone. This one's called Death and the Maidan. It's inspired by Egon Schiele's work of the same title. Times of man and a maiden. A love loves. Shared soul, sacred embrace. A look of despair. Unfamiliar face. Fates of humans and a being. A life, lives. Bared soul, barred entrance. A feeling of there. Unnecessary trace. Tales of women and guardians, an angel, angels, revered soul, repaired essence, a belief in a maiden, death, and circumstance. This one's called bacteria. Bacteria, floods, hurricanes, viruses, earthquakes, rains, droughts, disease, space missions, differences, opinions, changes, disagreements, resistance, immunity, tranquility, bacteria. This one's called More Than a Muse. Inspiration comes and then it goes, just as the breath, as a friend, the source ever flowing, thoughts everlasting. 9 goddesses speak the words and preside over the realm of knowledge. They are muses. 100 souls haunt the dreams and remind those of loss and hurt. They are muses. Thousands of contemplations consider the problems and reflect the choices chosen. They are muses. One being, present here and now, stimulates and influences change. More than a muse. Much more than a muse. Dispatches from the fort. It comes at times in waves, through a haze of smoke, a cloudy gaze, and songs and words spoken and sung in a place I've come to know. It comes to me as thoughts, transferred down to hands as letters across the land. Times are good, times are few, an open door, a seat, a place to chat with you. There's been many dispatches from the fort. Some take longer than others. Words that grace the pages of a book, a warning to those that come, a plea, a request, a statement, a creed, a motto, a manifesto, a dispatch from the fort, a thought. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoy it.